a symphony, I'd rather hear a song. Hum an all-time melody so I can hum along. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you. Love is all I need. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you. Love is all I need.
Good morning. We gather here today to celebrate the life of Robert Owen COULT, known to all as Bob. Family and friends, today we pay our respect to a gentleman, a husband, a father, grandfather, a great-grandfather, brother, uncle, a colleague and a friend. They're in no particular order, as each of you will have shared your own relationship with Bob and certainly have many happy memories of the times you've shared together. I'm Graham Sayre, and I'm privileged to have been asked to conduct this service for Bob today. On behalf of Bob's family, thank you for being here today, especially those of you who have travelled. Your presence with us is very much appreciated. The family also acknowledge Bob's sister Diana, who is overseas, and the many relatives and friends who are also from overseas. Also Jean and Pam, who are unable to be with us today. They're all close at heart. Thanks go to the many people who have telephoned, sent flowers and cards to the family, expressing their sympathy at the passing of Bob. And special thanks go to the staff of Star of the Sea for their excellent care of Bob during his time there. On days such as this, it's also important that we remember people special to Bob, those who have passed away but are not forgotten. We particularly remember Bob's wife Yvonne and his many close friends who have passed away, and he was able to attend their funerals. They were all reunited again. Some time ago, Bob wrote a poem to his wife. My dearest darling Yvonne, I love you oh so much. Your warm embrace, your smiling face. I also love your tender touch. I'll love you in the springtime. I'll love you in the fall. I'll love you all the year long, though, and even that's not all. I'll love you when you're happy. When you're sad, I'll love you more. I'll love you till the day I die, and that I know for sure. Robert Owen COULT Bob was born in Lincolnshire in England to parents Robert and Ivy COULT on the 5th of February 1934. He was a younger brother for Diana. He grew up in England and completed his schooling there. In his youth, he attended military training in Germany. He also studied civil engineering and worked in that field. The family immigrated to Australia in 1971 and made many long-term friends with the people they emigrated with. Bob was married twice, first to Ina and then Yvonne. He was blessed with 4 children, Peter and Michael, Gary and Paula. Bob is granddad and papa to 11 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Bob worked for the Highways Department in Adelaide as a civil engineer, supervising the building of many roads. He also loved pottering in his garden, playing lawn bowls and building miniature trains. He was known to enjoy a whiskey or port, and 3 p.m. was always time for a sherry. His holidays covered the spectrum from camping to cruising, enjoying many travelling holidays. Bob also loved his animals, Cleo the cat and Benny the dog. He had an aviary of birds which he bred, lovebirds and quails. He also had a cockatiel called Rocky that he taught to talk. Later in life, Bob moved around a bit, living at Watervale and Gawler in Hillier Park. It was here that Bob had a fall, maybe from the whiskey or the 3 o'clock sherry. It was this that 3 years ago saw him move to Star of the Sea to be cared for, and sadly at age 90 he passed away on the 30th of January 2025. This time we spend together today is to remember Bob, and while we think of his passing with sadness and regret, we should recall his life with respect and happiness. You see, nothing can detract from the happiness and closeness you shared with Bob. Nothing can affect the happiness and the joy of life that Bob knew. And nothing can change your love for him and his love for you. It can never be altered by time, circumstance, or even death. What has been the past with all its meaning is sacred and secure. Be grateful that Bob was part of your lives, and let his influence, his character, his warmth and his deeds live on. Deborah Marie writes, "Goodbye to my dad. Goodbye, Dad," I had to say a few months ago on a cold winter day. I'll remember the good times and try not to be sad, but saying goodbye still hurts so bad. I miss you more than I can express. My love for you will never grow less. I keep trying to imagine how I will go on. I realise tomorrow is another dawn. I know you're in heaven above, looking down on us with all your love. Only to whisper in our ear, remember that I'll never stop loving you, dear. I'll always remember the good times we had, remember the man, my wonderful dad. I'll remember you each and every day. And if I need to talk to you, I'll just sit down and pray. One day we'll be together again to talk about the places we've been. Until that time, I'll always treasure having you for a dad was such a great pleasure. Family have prepared Bob's eulogy for today, and I invite Tanya to come and share that with us.
Thanks, Graham. Robert Owen COULT, known to everyone here as Bob, Dad, Grandad, Papa or Pop, was born on the 5th of February 1934 in Lincolnshire, England. Bob was the youngest of 2 children born to Ivy and Robert COULT, and Bob was preceded by his sister Diana. Bob attended school at the City School Lincoln during World War, and part of this was during World War II, and graduated in 1949. Bob recently told us the family stories of some of World War II. This included building a bomb shelter and having to use it frequently during this time. This time became a time of sadness when Bob's father passed away. Bob always said it was the cost of the bomb shelter that contributed to this. After his school years, Bob began training as a civil engineer. He was awarded the position of civil engineering technician in 1966, and after further study became a civil engineering hire technician in 1969. This was a career he was extremely passionate about and loved doing. On the 4th of June 1960, Bob married his first wife, Ina. They enjoyed a few years of peaceful bliss until the 6th of May 1961, when their first son Peter was born. Followed 5 years later by their second son Michael, who was born on the 2nd of March 1965. In 1971, Bob and Ina were amongst the first wave of 20-pound Poms who emigrated to Australia by plane. They settled into their new home and life in Paravista, South Australia. Paravista at the time was an area where lots of English families settled when they emigrated to South Australia. Many new friends were made, and this became very important to Bob and his family as they settled into their new life in Australia. It is from here where Bob began his new career with the Highways Department, which then spanned his whole working life. In 1975, Bob and Ina separated. Bob formed a relationship with Yvonne, and after a short courtship, they were married on the day of a total eclipse, the 23rd of October 1976. Bob became stepfather to Yvonne's children, Gary and Paula. Peter, Michael, Gary and Paula were all at the celebration of their marriage at the North Terrace Registry Office. The celebration was then continued at home with a big dinner party involving family and friends. Bob and Yvonne settled into a rented house from the Highways Department in Windsor Gardens, whilst they built their own home in Modbury Heights. Bob and Yvonne's home was completed in 1978. The family lived in a dead-end street with many parties and barbecues attended by their friends from Para Vista: Kath and Den, Sid and Nev, Vera and Colin, Terry and Molly. There are cherished memories still had from these parties, particularly the Congo lines that stretched all the way down the street, usually led by Kath. Some of Bob's interests included gardening, bonsai, swimming in their pool at home and going to the beach, building model planes, boats and trains. Bob and Yvonne purchased a Jayco Dove camper van to take their family away in for holidays. They routinely travelled during the Christmas, May and September school holidays, often with Kath, Den and their 3 children. The COULT family would all be up at 0400 hours to ensure they were on the road early, only to arrive at Kath and Den's place to find that they were all still in bed, much to Bob's disgust. The COULT family would then continue slowly, waiting for everybody else to catch up. The kids have fond memories of these holidays: surfing, swimming, exploring, often causing grief to their parents. Beach cricket with lots of kids and parents with them whilst travelling. During the beach cricket matches, Paula always had to bat last to ensure that she stayed until the end of the match. Bob ensured lots of time was spent at the beach where the waves were, surfing and swimming. These holidays were when Bob and Yvonne got to rest and relax and spend time with their children and their close friends. A few drinks, lots of laughs and fun was always had. One holiday, on the way home, the beloved Jayco had to be left on the side of the road near Rope, as one of the wheels had literally fallen off. Bob wouldn't leave the Jayco until everything had been unpacked so that nothing disappeared. Even the fridge had to be emptied. Bob retired at the end of 1989, and then in 1990 Bob and Yvonne became empty nesters. Peter, Michael, Gary and Paula had all moved on to do their own things. Bob must have seen the writing on the wall because in 1986 he had purchased a block of land at Watervale, part of the Clare Valley. Bob and Yvonne had been slowly preparing the block up to this time for their new home to be constructed. Gary remembers having to spend many hours preparing for the garden, including digging holes for trees and fence posts. Whilst awaiting the construction of their home in Watervale, they had sold their home in Modbury Heights and moved into a rental property in Watervale with Yvonne's mother Nan in tow. They remained here until their construction was complete. Whilst living in Watervale, Bob and Yvonne joined the bowling club where they would play bowls up to 4 days a week. They were very competitive and were often successful in their competitions. They made many new friends and enjoyed becoming part of the Watervale community. Bob enjoyed contributing to the upkeep and maintenance of the bowling club and greens. Whilst living at their home in Watervale, Bob enjoyed his gardening, particularly his vegetable garden, distributing his produce to their neighbours and friends. He spent many hours hiking the Riesling Trail. As they got to know the area, they also began to enjoy the delights of the Clare Valley and nearby Barossa Valley region, especially the Port, Muscat, Sherry and Rieslings. During this time, Bob and Yvonne now had the opportunity to reclaim their travel bug. They travelled extensively within Australia and overseas, visiting many new places and countries. Bob and Yvonne particularly enjoyed their trip to Norfolk Island. The scenery, the customs observed there, they had not experienced before. The company they travelled with, Sid and Ev, also wasn't too bad either. Bob and Yvonne would often speak about how much they enjoyed their cruises. They ventured to the Pacific Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Caledonia and New Zealand. During their first cruise, they developed a special friendship with a waiter called Giovanni and his wife Anne. The subsequent cruises they went on were all structured around when Giovanni was in attendance. Up until Bob began living in residential care, he was still keeping in touch with Giovanni and his family. Their last cruise together was in 2015 to Port Lincoln. Bob was the proud pop granddad of Peter and Joe's family, Christina and Mason, Michael and Bev's family, Christy, Jamie, Tegan, Sophie and Claire, Gary and Tanya's family, Nathan and Timothy, Paula and Carl's family. Bob was also great pop granddad to 10 great-grandchildren. In 2001, Bob and Yvonne moved to Hillier Park in Evanston after Bob had suffered a heart attack. During the move, Carl and Nathan drove down in a truck, whilst Bob and Yvonne drove their car loaded to the hilt with all of their belongings. Bob enjoyed living at Hillier Park. Once again, they had a swimming pool where they could swim regularly in the warmer months. They were able to go on excursions to different places, attend dances, combined dinners and social evenings with others who also lived at Hillier Park. Residing now at Hillier Park meant they were closer and now able to catch up with their old friends more regularly. They also developed what we refer to as their retirement routine. Pub for lunch on Thursdays, weekly grocery shopping, including a stop at Dan Murphy's for the essential sherry, Baileys and whiskey on Fridays. Sadly, in 2019, Yvonne passed away. Bob, being the stoic man that he was, soldiered on at their Hillier Park home for 3 years. Slowly his memory had been declining, and then one day he experienced a fall where he sustained a hip fracture that had to be surgically repaired. Bob acknowledged at this time that it was no longer safe for him to remain at home on his own, and he agreed to move to Wallaroo and into residential care at the Star of the Sea on the 10th of January 2022. This was right in the midst of the COVID pandemic. Bob adjusted to life in aged care well, as he liked the routine and his rituals. He was one of those characters with all the residents and staff there that they either understood his dry sense of humour and banter or they didn't. He made lots of new friends, created a bit of mischief and mayhem at times and kept me on my toes. Sorry, for those of you who don't know, I used to be second in charge at Star of the Sea. In 2024, Bob celebrated his 90th birthday with a family celebration at the Anglers Inn and then another celebration at the Star of the Sea with all of his friends there. Over the past few months, Bob's health had been slowly declining and he passed away peacefully in the evening of the 30th of January. Bob, I will miss your quick wit, delivering your weekly supply of caramel chocolate, shortbread, and ensuring there was an ample supply of whiskey for the nurses to give you. I know your angels at Star of the Sea will miss your dry sense of humour, the Lincolnshire songs, and definitely your Grinch door at Christmas. And, of course, the delivery of the whiskey and lemonade at 4:30 in the afternoon, pre-dinner, and your post-dinner nightcap. It has been my absolute pleasure to care for you whilst I was working at Star of the Sea and to also have you as my father-in-law. I couldn't have asked for anyone better. Please know you were very much loved, will be remembered as the incredible character you were, and may you now rest in peace with your dearly loved Yvonne.
Thank you, Tanya. A beautiful tribute to Bob. Some other tributes for you today. Bob's granddaughter Tegan has prepared this to her Papa, and I share that with you now. Tegan's message to Papa Bob. Papa Bob, thank you for teaching me from a young age that some rules are meant to be broken, in the name of fun, of course. Like us racing your remote-controlled boats around in the residence swimming pool at Hillier Park. Or the paddock hopping that we did out at the farmhouse in Moonta. Even if Nana and I tripped you over the barbed wire fence and you came off a little worse for wear. It was all fun, right? Thank you also for reminding me and all of us to never lose our sense of self, and that there is always time for a sarcastic comment or sideways look. Your sass will continue to live on, I'll make sure of it. Rest easy now and give Nana a big cuddle for us all. We love you, Papa. Other family members have tributes. They couldn't be here today, and I share them with you now. Good morning, my name is Pam. I live in England. I met Bob through Yvonne, my very close friend. We grew up together until she decided to emigrate to Australia. Within a few years she met Bob and they got married. Bob took on her 2 children, Paula and Gary, as if they were his own. Bob made Yvonne very happy. I went to Australia to see them in 2005, and Bob made me so welcome it was as if I'd known him for years. Yvonne and Bob used to holiday in Coolangatta, so for the first 2 weeks I stayed with them, and then we went home to Adelaide for the rest of my stay. I managed to see them in 2007 and 2010. In 2014 I went again, only this time I took my husband John. We didn't tell them we were going, we wanted to surprise them. I knew that they also always went to the Kingsford for lunch on a Thursday. So when we got there I could see them sitting in the usual seat. We walked in and Bob spotted us and shouted out, "You little..." and I can't say the rest, I'm sorry. But they were pleased to see us. After we lost Yvonne, Bob still kept in touch, so it was very sad to hear that Bob had passed away. I will miss you, Bob. I will miss Bob. He was a good friend. Our thoughts are with all his family at this sad time. And another one. Uncle Bob, you were such a lovely man with great personality and sense of humour. You'll be greatly missed. We have very fond memories of Bob and Yvonne. Sending you all hugs and my love, Debbie and Julie. And Uncle Bob was such a wonderful man, so full of wit and fun. I have so many cherished memories of him, and I'll always remember how he could make us all laugh. We have lost a legend. It brings some comfort to think he is now reunited with Auntie Yvonne. From Pauline. Pictures serve as a great way for us to recall memories. Let's watch a collection of pictures that represents Bob's life. Enjoy the memories and the music.
This is the moment I've waited for. I can hear my heart singing. Soon bells will be ringing. This is the moment of sweet aloha. I will love you longer than forever. Promise me that you will leave me never. Here I that we are one. Clouds won't hide the sun. Blue skies of thy smile on this our wedding day. I do love you with all my heart.
Diamond rings, sparkling bright, gold and silver things, candlelight. But I wish you would realize, one day understand the meaning in my eyes. Don't play me a symphony, a simple song will do. Don't buy me a jewel ring, won't make my dreams come true. Fancy clothes I never wear, and books I never read. All I want is you, love is all I need. Don't play me a symphony, I'd rather hear a song. Hum an old-time melody so I can hum along. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you, love is all I need. Simple things are what I want. When you talk to me, you don't shout. If you gave me more of your life, I could easily one day be your wife. Don't play me a symphony, a simple song will do. Don't buy me a jewel ring, won't make my dreams come true. Fancy clothes I never wear, and books I never read. All I want is you, love is all I need. Don't play me a symphony, I'd rather hear a song. Hum an old-time melody so I can hum along. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you, love is all I need. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you, love is all I need.
A lot of wonderful memories to cherish in those pictures today. I'd like to share with you now a poem called To Those Whom I Love and Those Who Love Me. When I am gone, release me, let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You mustn't tie yourself to me with too many tears, but be thankful we had so many good years. I gave you my love, and you can only guess how much you've given me in happiness. I thank you for the love that you have shown, but now it is time I travel on alone. So grieve for me a while, if grieve you must, then let your grief be comforted by trust. It is only for a while that we must part, so treasure the memories within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on, and if you need me, call and I will come. Though you can't see or touch me, I will be near, and if you listen with your heart, you'll hear. All my love around you so soft and clear, and then when you come this way alone, I'll greet you and smile and give you a welcome home. Following his military training, Bob was a very ritualistic and regimented man, and he would always help others. I'd like to read to you now a poem called What Can I Do? It's an inspirational poem by Robert Longley, written for the family of Army Specialist Kevin Luna, who was killed in an accident in January 27th, 2005. Kevin loved doing things for other people as Bob did, and wished more people would do the same. Wouldn't it be nice if this was how all of us are remembered when we are gone? What can I do for you? Anything is possible, you only need to ask. Just tell me what is needed, and I'm glad to do the task. I just like helping others, that's why I wear the uniform. We're there for both the good days and to protect you from the storm. Share these words with others, there is still so much to do. Maybe more would help each other, only if they knew. These words I've asked so many, I hope you ask of those in need, and watch the magic happen, like water to a seed. Family and friends, it comes time to say farewell to Bob. Bob, you were a man of many colours, happy-go-lucky and always neat and tidy. You were strict with the children and rules were rules. Apparently Gary broke all of them. And Bob did in the nursing home, where you were sassy and a real charmer. Not how did he die, but how did he live. Not what did he gain, but what did he give. These are the units to measure the worth of a man as a man, regardless of birth. Not what was his church, nor what was his creed, but had he befriended those really in need? Was he ever ready for a word of good cheer, to bring back a smile, to banish a tear? Not what did the sketch in the newspaper say, but how many were sorry when he passed away? I'd ask those of you who are able to please stand for the committal. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose on earth, a time to be born and a time to die. Here in this last act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation, we commit Bob to be cremated and to his natural end. Earth to earth, dust to dust, and ashes to ashes. Bob, you are so dearly loved, you are in our hearts and in our minds, and we'll carry you with us as we move forward with our lives. Everything you have done is still done. Everyone you loved is still loved. Everything we've learnt from you is still learnt. And so we'll let you pass from this world for which you did so much, for which you continue to do, because when we walk this earth, we walk it with you. You leave us with the strength and pride to do what is good and right, and your memory will guide us just as you did when you were at our side. For this we say thank you and goodbye. dearest husband, father, granddad, papa and loyal friend. Rest in peace, Robert Owen COULT, our Bob. Please be seated. Invite Andrew Skinner from Skinner Family Funerals to come forward for the conclusion of the service.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Peter and Michael, Gary and Paula, the family and extended family, I'd like to thank you all for the love and support you've shown for attendance here this morning to say farewell to Bob. I invite you to come forward after the family to pay your farewells, and then from here you're invited to the Anglers Inn at Wallaroo to celebrate all the lovely memories of Bob. I ask you to all please stand as we pay our respects, and we leave here quietly today. Thank you.
Diamond rings, sparkling bright, gold and silver things, candlelight. But I wish you would realize, one day understand the meaning in my eyes. Don't play me a symphony, a simple song will do. Don't buy me a jewel ring, won't make my dreams come true. Fancy clothes I never wear, and books I never read. All I want is you, love is all I need. Don't play me a symphony, I'd rather hear a song. Hum an old-time melody so I can hum along. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you, love is all I need. Simple things are what I want. When you talk to me, you don't shout. If you gave me more of your life, I could easily one day be your wife. Don't play me a symphony, a simple song will do. Don't buy me a jewel ring, won't make my dreams come true. Fancy clothes I never wear, and books I never read. All I want is you, love is all I need. Don't play me a symphony, I'd rather hear a song. Hum an old-time melody so I can hum along. Love is all I have to give, and love is all I need. All I want is you, love is all